Hey boys and girls, today we're going to be learning about Wayne Thiebaud. Wayne Thiebaud was a famous artist who used geometric figures to create desserts. So today you're going to have the choice to make your own dream dessert. You can use a cylinder to make a cake. I'm going to show you guys how to make a cake in this video. You can downsize that to make some cupcakes, or you can look at one of the papers on your desk to make a pie. So the first thing we're going to do, first name, last name, and your teacher name. Flip it over, and we're going to use a pencil and draw super lightly so you can erase if you need to. And the first thing we're going to do for your cake is to make a oval that's about the size of your hand. If you're doing cupcakes, you're going to want to do 2 or 3 smaller ovals and do the same thing you just saw here. Make 2 lines and connect them at the bottom. For our layer cake, you're going to want to have a piece cut out. So we're going to come in, make your 2 lines down into V shapes right there. And since we drew super lightly, we can come in and erase those straight lines right there. So now we're going to add our layer. This is where your icing is going to be. Just like that, come around in the middle of your cake. If you're doing the cupcake, you may want to add some lines to show your cupcake liner, and I will show a video for your cupcakes in just a minute. Alright, now we're going to add our plate. You're going to come up here around the top of your cake and make an oval. We drew really lightly, so if you need to round it up, you can do so. Now you're going to add the edge of your plate, or your lip. Oops. Messed up a little bit here. Because I drew really lightly, I can erase it and come right on back. This is our border of our plate, where you're going to add in a pattern, just like a paper plate pattern, or maybe your mom's fancy china pattern. We can figure that out later. Right now we're going to add a line right up here. And then we're going to hop over your plate and add another line. And that is our horizon line to show where our table is. So we have a wall, and now we have a table. You're going to choose one, either the wall or the table. I'm choosing the tablecloth. And you're going to create a pattern. I'm going to make a little checkered pattern here. If you choose your wallpaper, you can do whatever you want. Floral, polka dots, whatever floats your boat. Now we're going to add in our pattern. I think I'm going to do just some lines and dots, but if you want to do a paper plate pattern, you can do that. Like I said, maybe your mom has fancy china you guys use for Thanksgiving. Just add in your pattern. Oops, here we go. And we are going to come in with Sharpie on this later, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Alright, now let's take a look at our cake. It's looking a little plain right now. We're going to create some visual clues to help us show our viewer what kind of cake we're making. So, here are some options for your visual clues. If you're doing cupcakes, you can do any of these also. And if you're doing a pie, you may want to do some of these inside as like a filling and then put one on top. And I'll show you a picture of a pie in just a little bit. But these little details are, like I said, visual clues that help your viewer know what kind of cake you are creating. You can also add in little details beside your cake on your table, like silverware or a cup, whatever you want. So I'm going to add in my icing here. And I think I'm going to make a chocolate strawberry cake. So I'm going to add in some whipped cream on the top and stick a strawberry down in it. And then I'm going to make sure I get rid of any stray lines in here with my eraser. And I'm going to come in and add some little dollops of whipped cream all the way around the edge. There we go. Once you have all your details in, we're going to use an extra fine Sharpie. These are super fine, so we're going to need to be super, super careful. If you're not careful, it's going to smush that little tiny tip down into it and we won't be able to use it. So you just draw really lightly and go over all of your pencil lines. Your plate, any of the details you made, your wallpaper or your tablecloth, and the border around your plate. Now you're going to grab an eraser, your big eraser. And here's an example of cupcakes. I'm just going over all my lines in this one. As you can see, I did wallpaper on this one, just a little floral, lovely wallpaper. Let's talk about shadows real quick. As you can see, I added some shadows onto my cupcakes. We want to make sure we put shadows under your cake or your cupcakes. And to do that, you're going to do lines all in one direction. That's called hatching. Then you're going to come back in another direction, and that's called cross hatching. So we're going to do cross hatching under your cake, under all your details, and under your plate. You do not have to do that with pencil. Just go ahead and do that with Sharpie. But make sure you're taking your time and don't scratch it around or scribble scrabble. Okay, now grab your eraser. Make sure you got your paper held really tight with your other hand and erase any stray pencil lines. Ta-da! Alright, here is some of my examples, which are also up on the board. And on your table, you also have some how-tos for your cupcakes and for the pie and for the cake. So you guys can choose which one you want to make and go ahead and get started. Alright guys, now that you have your basic drawing, we're going to be using oil pastels to color it in. And just like from last year, you know, oil pastels are like crayons. They're just a little bit waxier. So you're going to need to be careful not to smear them with your hand while you're coloring. Since I'm doing a strawberry cake, strawberry chocolate, I'm going to go ahead and choose my colors. And you want to do your lightest colors first. So pink is my lightest color. I'm going to come in and do my icing and a little highlight on my strawberry up there. I'm coming in really carefully outlining the shapes that I want to stay white so I don't accidentally color over them. Now I'm coming in with my red and adding some shadows. Alright, now my chocolate. I'm being really careful not to smear it. And there we go. So what you're going to do now is you're going to continue coloring with your pastel, and I want you to do your plate, maybe your designs on your plate, and you can color in your table and your wall. So go ahead and get started. Remember, don't smear it with your hand and be super careful.